The sleeping giant. The orbital museum floated silently above Earth, a testament to humanity's journey among the stars. Inside its vast halls, Captain Maya Chen adjusted her dress uniform and checked her datapad one final time. Today marked the 100th anniversary of the Galactic Unity Accord, and representatives from 12 alien species had come to tour humanity's historical achievements. Captain Chen chirped Ambassador Vrix of the Zelathi Collective, his crystalline form catching the artificial sunlight streaming through the viewports. "We are most eager to see these relics of your species' primitive past." Maya forced a diplomatic smile. "Of course, Ambassador. Right this way." The group of aliens followed her through the museum's corridors. Some floated on anti-gravity harnesses, others skittered on multiple legs, and a few simply oozed along the polished floors. Their universal translators hummed with various languages, all converting to the galactic standard that humans had adopted decades ago. They passed displays of early space shuttles, primitive satellites, the first colony ships. Each exhibit drew snickers and condescending remarks from their visitors. "Chemical propulsion," laughed Commander Throck of the Maldorian fleet, his forearms gesturing dismissively. "How quaint. We abandoned such crude methods 3,000 cycles ago." The serpentine representative from Cytheria coiled around a Mars rover replica. "They actually used wheeled vehicles on other worlds. How did they ever leave their solar system?" Maya maintained her composure as they approached the museum's centerpiece. Through massive reinforced windows, the ancient warship UES Tempest hung in its preservation dock. Even after 2 centuries, its angular hull still looked menacing, though patches of micrometeorite damage and faded paint betrayed its age. "Ah," breathed High Counselor Zektar of the Dominion, his telepathic voice echoing in everyone's minds. "The infamous human warship, the last of your so-called Titan-class destroyers." The aliens pressed against the windows, their various sensory organs focused on the dormant vessel. The Tempest stretched nearly a kilometer long, its hull bristling with weapon ports, sensor arrays, and mysterious protrusions that modern human ships no longer featured. "This is what humans used to conquer their first 100 systems?" asked Ambassador Vrix, his crystal form pulsing with amusement. "It looks like scrap metal held together by primitive welding." "The weapons are laughable," added Commander Throck, pulling up a holographic display. "Projectile cannons, nuclear missiles, laser arrays barely capable of puncturing modern shielding. My patrol craft could reduce this entire ship to atoms in seconds." Dr. Krell, the insectoid scientist from the Hive worlds, buzzed his wings thoughtfully. "I'm more interested in these unusual energy readings. Your historical records show anomalous power signatures, but the data is corrupted. What exactly powered these vessels?" Maya glanced at her datapad, noting the classified sections she couldn't discuss. The Tempest used a combination of fusion reactors and experimental power sources. Much of that technology was abandoned after the Unity Accord. "Abandoned because it was inefficient," stated High Counselor Zektar with certainty. "Humanity wisely adopted Dominion power systems once you joined the galactic community. Much safer, much more reliable." Through the viewing window, maintenance drones drifted around the Tempest, their scanning beams playing across its scared hull. Maya knew what the aliens didn't. Those weren't just maintenance scans. They were containment checks. "Tell me, Captain," hissed the Cytherian ambassador, "why keep this relic at all? Surely the metal could be recycled for something useful." Before Maya could respond, her communicator chirped urgently. She excused herself and stepped aside, her expression growing grave as she listened to the message. "I'm afraid we'll need to cut our tour short," she announced, rejoining the group. "There's been an incident in the Kepler 442 system." The aliens exchanged glances, their various forms of communication creating a buzz of activity. High Counselor Zektar's telepathic presence grew cold. "The human colony worlds. Yes, we are aware. The hegemony has finally made their move." Maya's eyes narrowed. "You knew this was coming." "The hegemony tests all species eventually," replied Commander Throck with a shrug of his four shoulders. They probe for weakness, establish dominance. It's how the galaxy maintains order. And you expect us to simply accept this? Maya's voice carried an edge that made several aliens step back. Ambassador Vrix chimed softly. What choice do you have? Your modern fleet uses our technology, follows our protocols. The hegemony knows every weakness, every vulnerability. Perhaps if you still had ships like this, he gestured dismissively at the Tempest, you might mount some token resistance, but those days are long past. Maya's hand moved to a concealed panel on the wall. Her palm pressed against the scanner, and a previously invisible door slid open. Perhaps you'd like to join me in the command center. I think it's time you learned why humanity really keeps the Tempest. The group followed her through the hidden passage, emerging into a state-of-the-art military command post. Screens showed real-time tactical data from the Kepler 442 system. 3 human colony worlds burned under hegemony bombardment, their orbital defenses crumbling. Admiral Chen, Maya spoke clearly, her diplomatic demeanor replaced by military bearing. I'm authorizing Tempest Protocol 7. The aliens watched in confusion as human personnel rushed to stations. Through the reinforced windows, they could see the preservation dock beginning to transform. Mechanical arms retracted, containment fields flickered, and deep within the Tempest's hull, something began to stir. What are you doing? Demanded High Counselor Zektar. That ship is a museum piece. Maya turned to face them, and for the first time, the aliens saw something in human eyes they'd never noticed before, the glint of predators who had merely been pretending to be prey. The Tempest isn't just a museum piece, Maya explained as ancient reactors deep within the ship began their startup sequence. It's a reminder of what humanity is capable of when pushed too far. On the screens, telemetry showed impossible readings. Power levels that defied modern understanding. Weapons signatures that shouldn't exist. Systems coming online that violated 3 separate galactic treaties. Impossible, whispered Dr. Krell, his compound eyes fixed on the data. These energy patterns, they're not from any known dimension. The Unity Accord required us to abandon certain technologies. Maya continued, watching as the Tempest's hull began to glow with an eerie blue light. We agreed, for the sake of peace, but we never destroyed them. We simply put them to sleep. Commander Throck stepped forward aggressively. This is a violation of galactic law. I'll have your entire species brought before. His words died as the Tempest's main reactor reached full power. Every screen in the command center flickered. The aliens' personal shields failed. Their advanced technology simply stopped. Through the viewports, they watched in awe as the ancient warship transformed. Armor plates shifted, revealing weapons that bent space itself. Sensor arrays unfolded like metallic flowers, scanning with energies that made reality ripple. The micro-meteorite damage healed itself, nanites rebuilding the hull in seconds. You see, Maya said quietly, humanity didn't adopt your technology because ours was inferior. We did it because our technology scared us. The Tempest and her sister ships weren't just warships. They were statements of intent. The Cytherian ambassador's scales had turned pale. What? What have you done? We've awakened the giant, Maya replied. And now the hegemony will learn why humanity's elders chose to put these ships to sleep rather than use them. On the main tactical display, the Tempest's status showed green across all systems. The ancient warship's engines flared to life, and space itself seemed to warp around it. Navigation locked on Kepler 442 system, reported one of the human officers. Dimensional jump drive charged and ready. Dimensional jump. Dr. Krell's wings buzzed frantically. That's theoretically impossible. The power requirements alone ruled. His words were cut short as the Tempest simply vanished. No flash of light, no distortion field. One moment it was there, the next it wasn't. High Counselor Zektar's telepathic voice trembled. Where Where did it go? Maya smiled coldly. To remind the galaxy why humanity earned its place among the stars. Not through diplomacy, not through adoption of your technologies, but through innovations that made the universe itself take notice. She turned back to the screens, where long-range sensors were picking up the first signals from the Kepler 442 system. The readings were impossible. Energy signatures that shouldn't exist. Weapons fire that violated the laws of physics as the galaxy understood them. You called our ship a relic, Maya said to the assembled aliens. But relics are just history waiting to be repeated. And now, the hegemony is about to become history itself. The command center fell silent except for the hum of equipment and the distant sounds of other Titan-class destroyers beginning their own awakening sequences throughout the solar system. The aliens looked at each other with new understanding and new fear. Humanity hadn't been the backward species they'd assumed. Humanity had been the sleeping giant, content to doze while lesser powers played their games. But now the giant was awake, and the galaxy would never be the same. Thunder from the past. The hegemony fleet hung in perfect formation above Kepler 442 bits, their sleek vessels maintaining precise distances as they systematically bombarded the human colony below. Admiral Vexnor observed the destruction from his command throne. His 6 eyes focused on different tactical displays simultaneously. Resistance has ceased in sectors 5 through 9, reported his tactical officer. The human shield generators are failing. Vexnor's mandibles clicked in satisfaction. As expected, these humans rely too heavily on borrowed technology. They don't understand its limitations. The colony's defenders, a handful of modern human vessels built to galactic unity specifications, retreated behind the planet's moon. Their weapons, standard plasma cannons and antimatter torpedoes, had barely scratched the hegemony's advanced shielding. "Sir," the sensor officer's voice carried an unusual note of confusion. "I'm detecting an anomalous reading. Something just appeared at the system's edge." Appeared. Vexnor straightened in his command throne. "Clarify." "Unknown, Admiral. One moment empty space. The next, there's a ship. Configuration doesn't match any known design." On the main display, a tactical plot showed the new arrival. The computer struggled to classify it, cycling through ship categories before settling on an ominous red icon labeled simply, "Unknown." "Visual," Vexnor ordered. The screen shifted, and silence fell across the bridge. The ship that hung in space defied conventional design philosophy. Where modern vessels were smooth and streamlined, this one was angular, almost crude in appearance. Its hull was dark gray, scarred by countless battles, bristling with protruding weapons and sensor arrays that looked like thorns on some predatory plant. "It's transmitting something," the communications officer reported. "Not on any standard frequency. It's using quantum entanglement protocols we've never seen." Before Vexnor could respond, every screen on his bridge flickered. A human woman's face appeared, wearing an Arctic military uniform with insignia no current human fleet used. "Hegemony vessels," the woman spoke with calm authority. "I am Commodore Sarah Knox, commanding officer of the UES Tempest. You have 3 minutes to cease fire and withdraw from this system." Vexnor's mandibles spread in what his species considered laughter. "A single ship against the might of 30 hegemony dreadnoughts. You humans have finally lost your minds." Commodore Knox's expression didn't change. 2 minutes, 50 seconds. "Destroy that relic," Vexnor ordered dismissively. "All batteries, fire." 30 dreadnoughts turned their weapons toward the Tempest. Plasma beams that could slice through moons, antimatter torpedoes that could crack continents, gravitic distortion cannons that could tear ships apart at the molecular level, all fired in perfect synchronization. The space around the Tempest erupted in destructive energies that should have vaporized any ship instantly. When the fire cleared, the ancient warship remained exactly where it had been, completely unharmed. "Impossible," Vexnor breathed. "Analysis. Unknown shielding type. his science officer responded, panic creeping into its voice. The weapon's fire didn't reach the ship. It was absorbed, redirected. The readings make no sense. On screen, Commodore Knox checked an old-fashioned chronometer. 2 minutes. The Tempest began to move, not with the smooth acceleration of modern gravity drives, but with sudden, jarring shifts that hurt to watch. It seemed to skip across space, leaving afterimages that confused sensors and targeting systems alike. "Target that ship," Vexnor roared. "All weapons, continuous fire." The hegemony fleet unleashed everything they had. The space around the Tempest became a storm of destructive energy. Yet the ancient warship danced through it all, its movements defying physics, its hull drinking in energies that should have annihilated it. 1 minute, Knox announced calmly. The Tempest's weapons ports began to open. Not the smooth iris designs of modern ships, but crude-looking mechanical shutters that groaned and squealed as they revealed dark apertures beneath. "Admiral," the sensor officer's voice shook. "I'm reading power buildups inside that ship that shouldn't be possible. The energy density, it's like they've bottled a star." "Shields to maximum," Vexnor ordered, genuine fear entering his voice for the first time in centuries. 30 seconds, Knox stated. "I strongly advise you begin your withdrawal." "Never," Vexnor snarled. "The hegemony does not retreat from primitives." "Time's up." The Tempest fired. What emerged from its weapons ports defied description. Not beams of energy, not projectiles, but tears in reality itself. Wounds in space-time that spread like cracks in glass, reaching out toward the hegemony fleet with hungry fingers. The first dreadnought to be touched simply ceased to exist. Not destroyed, not vaporized, erased, as if it had never been. Its crew didn't even have time to scream. "Quantum weapons," Dr. Krell whispered in the Earth Command Center, watching the long-range telemetry with a mixture of horror and fascination. "They're using quantum weapons, collapsing probability waves, erasing matter from existence itself." 3 more hegemony ships vanished. Then 6, then a dozen. The remaining vessels tried to flee, but the Tempest's weapons ignored distance, reaching across space to pluck ships from existence with casual ease. "Jump drives," Vexnor screamed. "Emergency jump." "Jump drives non-functional," his engineer reported. "Something's interfering with space-time itself. We can't form a stable wormhole." The Tempest moved among them now, a wolf among sheep. Its secondary weapons, which the initial scans had dismissed as primitive projectile launchers, revealed their true nature. They fired not bullets but miniature black holes, compressed gravitational anomalies that tore through shields and armor as if they weren't there. In the Earth Command Center, the alien diplomats watched in stunned silence as the pride of the hegemony fleet was systematically dismantled by a ship they had mocked as obsolete just hours before. "The power requirements," Dr. Krell muttered, still trying to comprehend what he was seeing. "To manipulate quantum states on this scale, to create and control micro-black holes. It's impossible with any known power source." Maya nodded grimly. During Earth's early expansion, human scientists discovered something in the quantum foam, a layer of reality beneath what you call subspace. We called it the void layer. Infinite energy, but accessing it required sacrifices. Sacrifices. Ambassador Vrix's crystalline form had gone pale. Every time a Titan-class ship uses its full capabilities, it shortens the lifespan of nearby stars by millions of years. The dimensional stress can create permanent dead zones in space where physics itself becomes unstable. On the screen, the last hegemony dreadnought tried a desperate ramming maneuver. The Tempest didn't even bother to dodge. Instead, space around it twisted, and the attacking ship found itself flying away from its target, no matter how it maneuvered. "Spatial distortion fields," Maya explained. "The Tempest can fold space around itself, making it literally impossible to approach." Admiral Vexnor's voice crackled through the emergency channels, pleading, threatening, bargaining. The Tempest ignored it all. With surgical precision, it disabled the dreadnought's weapons and engines, leaving it helpless but intact. "Hegemony vessel," Commodore Knox's voice cut through the chaos. "You will return to your space and deliver this message. The human colony worlds are under the protection of Earth's Titan fleet. Any further aggression will result in the complete erasure of your species from this galaxy. You can't." Vexnor gasped. "The Galactic Council. The treaties. The same treaties your people just violated." Knox's voice carried a cold edge. "The Council had its chance to prevent this. They chose to look away. Now they'll learn why our ancestors put these ships to sleep, not because they were obsolete, but because they were too effective." The Tempest's weapons powered down, but it maintained position as the crippled Hegemony flagship limped toward the system's edge. Around Kepler 442 bits, the bombardment had ceased, the colony's shields flickering back to life. In the Earth Command Center, High Counselor Zektar finally found his telepathic voice. "What have you unleashed?" Maya turned to face the assembled aliens. A reminder. "For 100 years, humanity has played by your rules, accepted your limitations, pretended to be just another young species learning from our betters. But we were never beginners. We were veterans who chose peace." She gestured to the screens showing not just the Tempest, but other Titan-class ships coming online throughout human space. 12 ships, that's all we kept. 12 reminders of what humanity is capable of when threatened. Pray you never see all of them activated at once. But the power, Dr. Krell buzzed anxiously, the dimensional stress, the stellar aging you mentioned, is why we chose to lock them away, Maya confirmed. Using these ships comes at a terrible cost. But that's what makes them perfect deterrents. Any enemy must ask themselves, are we threatening humanity enough that they'll pay that price? The alien ambassadors exchanged glances, seeing humanity in an entirely new light. Not as newcomers to be patronized, but as a species that had voluntarily limited itself for the greater good, and could unleash unimaginable power when that goodwill was betrayed. Commander Throck, who had mocked human technology mere hours ago, now stood silent, his forearms trembling slightly. Will you return to the old ways? Abandon our technology entirely?" Maya shook her head. "No. The Titans will return to their sleep once this crisis passes. We prefer peace. We choose cooperation. But now the galaxy knows the truth. Humanity's weakness was always a choice, not a limitation." On the tactical display, the Tempest began its journey back to Earth, space folding around it like water. The other colony worlds reported similar victories as more Titan-class ships appeared to drive off hegemony forces. "Send word to your governments," Maya addressed the alien delegation. "Humanity remains committed to the Galactic Unity Accord. But we will no longer tolerate being seen as prey. The giants have shown they can wake. Pray we never need to wake them all." As the diplomats hurried to their communication chambers, Maya returned her attention to the screens. The Tempest was already docking, its ancient hull showing no signs of the battle it had just dominated. In a few hours, it would return to its museum berth, resuming its role as a relic of humanity's past. But now, everyone would know the truth. The relic wasn't really a relic. It was a sleeping guardian, a reminder that humanity's rise to the stars hadn't been through luck or borrowed knowledge, but through innovations so powerful they had chosen to set them aside. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Never mock a human relic. You never know when it might wake up.